In this exercise, we are going to create a new assembly, and we are going to take a number of parts into this new assembly. We're going to assemble them together, and then we're going to save it, and we're going to call that a subassembly. And basically what a subassembly is it's a group of parts that is meant to be used in a bigger assembly. Um, and it could be used in multiple different assemblies. And this is used all the time in industry, and that's why this is a really good exercise to go through. Think of a car, and every car has a transmission. Well, if you were designing a car, you don't want to have to go through in SolidWorks and assemble all the components into a transmission every single time that you're designing a car. And so one transmission might go into several different vehicles. And so what you would do is you would create a separate assembly with all the components that go into this transmission. And then anytime you need to use that transmission, it's already assembled, and I can just put that subassembly into the main assembly. So we want to keep this assembly active. We're just going to come up here. We're going to do File, New. And now we're going to do an assembly. We'll just use that same template that we created before, the assembly_mm. Say OK. It's going to create a new one. And what we're going to do here is we're going to keep visible. So we want to activate this little pin. So it's showing documents we already have open. Those aren't the ones we want to use. So we're going to come down here to Browse, and we want to use Crankshaft, and we'll say Open. And we're just going to place that here. And it's allowing me, it's asking me if I want to place another one. I don't, so I'm going to hit Escape. And what that should have done is kept that window open. It didn't. And so we're going to insert component. Try this again. And we're going to browse. And this time we're going to do the crank knob. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why it's behaving like this, but that's okay. And then we want to do the crank arm. All right, we're going to try using the Smart Mate option on this. We'll see. So sometimes I have some issues with this, but if you hold the Alt key down and then come over here and select and hold this diameter, and we're just going to move this, and we should, there we go. You see that symbol by the cursor change from a paper clip to what is a mate. Okay, so now I'm gonna hold the Alt, keep the Alt key held down. I'm gonna release the cursor, and that gives me, so it gave me a concentric mate, and it also, I can flip it if I want. I can release the Alt key, and I can just check the green check mark here. And if we look in mates, it added that concentric mate. And so again, I've got this, I can slide it up and down, but I can't move it side to side. And so it's a different way that we can use this, and we don't have to go into the mate. And again, sometimes this doesn't work as, as nicely as it should. And I'll just go back to using the way that we have been using it. But again, it's just a different way. All right, let's try another Smart Mate. We're going to try to make this flat parallel with the flat on the crankshaft. So again, I'm going to hold Alt down. I'm going to depress my left mouse key and hold it. And I'm going to move this down into place. And there I get the mate selection. You can see it changed by the cursor. And so I'm going to let up on the mouse key. Now it gave me a coincident mate. I don't want that. I want parallel. So I'm going to change that. And I'm going to hit green check mark. And so now, if I move this, I can't rotate it because the flats are lined up. So that's good. All right, next let's make this crank arm coincident with the top of the crankshaft. And so if I hold my Alt key down and I click on this surface, and I'm going to bring this up. Let me try moving my, so I had to move my cursor in towards the top of that crankshaft. I get the symbol, the mate symbol. I'm going to let go. And I do have a coincident mate. And so I'm going to click my green check mark. So this next one can be a little bit tricky. And so I'm going to move this one over here. And the way that, and I don't know why this shouldn't be, but the only way I've been able to get this thing to work is in isometric view. So I'm going to rotate the knob on here to make it a little bit easier to select. And so I'm going to click on here, and it gets this, it gives me an option, and I can just drag this where I want it, and I'm just going to leave it here. And then I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to come up and I'm going to select an isometric view. I'm just going to turn this a little bit. And we're going to try to SmartMate this. So I'm going to hold my Alt key down, and I want to select this ring right here. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to bring this down, and you see it flipped orientation, and there I get my SmartMate. You see it changed right by the cursor to mate. And so I'm going to release my cursor, and I can see that it gave me not only a concentric mate, but it also added a coincident mate. And so that's what we want. And again, this is not always the easiest to use. Now, maybe with a later version of the software, they've enhanced it a little bit. I know it works really well with components like screws and bolts and stuff. So now this is our subassembly. So we've assembled 3 components together, but now we can enter this into the larger assembly. Before we do anything else, we're going to rebuild this to make sure that everything stays how we want it. And so we're just going to click the little stop sign up here, stoplight. And then we're going to go ahead and save this. And you can save it again with your folder with the other folders. And we're just going to call this crank sub. And I've got one already that I've got up there, but we're just going to do this again. And we're going to say okay. And because I've got one, you can call yours crank sub. I'm going to call mine crank sub 1, only because I already have one and I don't want to change that file. Component documents must be saved. Just save all. And now we've got this ready to go. So I'm going to end this video here rather than to try to push through and add this to the other assembly. So we'll finish up with one more video.